Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their future Star Wars comics, books, novels, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows in the mix, their new Star Wars movies, and a whole lot more on the horizon by Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that a lot of fans around the globe are well prepared for is exactly what kind of tricks that Jon and Dave have up their sleeves when it comes to everything that's being done for the Mandoverse, its surrounding spin-offs, as well as other eras that they will be exploring in the Star Wars universe, one of which, of course, being a post-Episode 9 era, and how one of the upcoming Star Wars shows is going to actually involve that specific point in time. Now, everything related to the sequel trilogy, I understand that a lot of fans may be a little bit standoffish about that, but when it comes to Favreau and Filoni, I think that it's best to say that it's worth giving it a shot to see how they're really going to be able to utilize the sequel trilogy elements, right? So there is a post-Episode 9 series currently in the works, the very early stages, a lot of storyboards are being created and finalized to be used in the upcoming script. All of this, by the way, will be announced at next year's Star Wars Celebration event, and even later at D23 for 2023. So that brings us to the most important thing of all, is exactly what they are doing with the Star Wars universe as a whole when it comes to actor Adam Driver. Now, the last that we have seen Adam Driver, obviously, was at the very end of Episode 9 when Ben Solo vanishes on the world of Exegol, only left to never be seen again. So, since Bob Chapek has been regulating the Acolyte series by giving Favreau and Lucas some control over the show, however, it's noted that behind the scenes, Lucasfilm has extensive plans for the future of the franchise, one of which involves both Favreau and Filoni rehiring actor Adam Driver for a very important role for a new post-Episode 9 series that is set to debut on Disney Plus in the next couple of years. Now, further, it's noted that Adam Driver is set to return as Ben Solo after the events of the sequel trilogy, and that Jon and Dave are creating a big retcon and/or change to the sequel trilogy's end that will be done in the form of a flashback that will be used in the upcoming post-Episode 9 series. Now, storyboards have already been developed for the show, and Adam has gone over their plans, one of which involves a full flashback that involves Ben Solo falling into the pit of Exegol, where it was at this moment that he entered into the world between worlds and connected with the Force Ghost from the past during his time in there. There is said to be a time differential in this realm. The plan by Jon and Dave is that after Ben fell in the pit, he was trapped in the WBW for a total of 1 whole week. Through that, of course, was just minutes back on Exegol. This is said to have something to do with the Exegol world having a vergence in the Force and something to do with time shifts. So I want to just stop here quick for a second. Now, given that these storyboards have been finalized to be used in the script of this new mystery series that takes place after Episode 9, it's going to involve a flashback that shows us a different view of what happened to Ben Solo when he was tossed into the pit on Exegol. Now, there's something very special about that pit on Exegol. Now, if you guys have read up on the canon, the Sith acolytes, or the Sith cultists, if you will, actually were digging and mining on Exegol to really experiment with this vergence of the Force, and how it does have something to do with, of course, just that. And there's a lot more to the story than we know, but so far, given that the world between worlds has a connection to the vergence of the Force, you can see the connections that Jon and Dave are trying to create that was first introduced in Star Wars Rebels Season 4, and eventually more so in the books and the comics, right? So, besides that, we don't really know all that much about the WBW just yet. And that's exactly something that they want to explore heavily in this upcoming post-Episode 9 series. Now, beyond all of this, This is where things begin to really progress and get even all the more involved, with Adam Driver returning as Ben Solo in, of course, this new post-Episode 9 series. So further, this is planned to be an explanation of how Ben Solo learned the Life Force exchange technique by the Force Ghost that he gave back to Rey to bring her back to life. The plan by John and Dave is to create a big revelation of what happened to Ben Solo after he vanished once he performed this technique for Rey to live on. It's unclear as to what this means exactly, but John and Dave are preparing a big reveal for Ben Solo's return in present time that will connect with this flashback that they have planned out. Now, the flashback is said to take place while Ben's voice is speaking to Rey in a planned scene in the post-Episode 9 series in present time. So, that's the biggest question of all. This voice of Ben Solo that's speaking to Rey. Is this a Force Ghost of Ben telling her about what happened to him after he fell into the pit? Could it very well be, perhaps, that maybe Ben Solo is trapped now in the world between worlds for good after he used that Life Force exchange technique? Very possible as well. Nonetheless, Ben Solo's return in present time for this show is said to be very much revolutionary and a big revelation in the Star Wars history and world. Now, obviously, a lot of fans are going to be very curious about this. We're going to be learning more about this show in 2023. They want to get this thing out by 2025 at the very minimum. You know, who knows if they'll be able to hit that window, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that John and Dave are on a roll, especially if you're using the World Between Worlds as a centerpiece of the story, and how it's going to date back to kind of giving us an alternate view of what happened at the very end of Episode 9, how Ben Solo learned that ability, and exactly who taught Ben Solo that ability. Alright, so specifically Force Ghost taught him the ability, but exactly who? That, of course, we don't really know just yet. It's most likely having something to do with Luke, Leia, or even perhaps maybe something to do with Anakin Skywalker. Who knows? There's a lot of, endless possibilities on the horizon, all thanks to John and Dave. And the other thing that I do have to touch on here is that the World Between Worlds is going to be touched on in future Star Wars shows as well. John and Dave want to make sure that they are going to touch on this in the Ahsoka series, and if they can greenlight a Season 2 of Ahsoka, they want to dive into it even more so. And that's also something that they're trying to achieve. They want to make Ahsoka into a multi-season show and not just a limited one, and I respect that, I really do. So, Adam Driver coming back to Star Wars, it's just fitting because I always said this before in the past, that Adam Driver was probably the best thing that happened to Star Wars. I think that he was the best actor in the actual sequel trilogy, even more so than Daisy Ridley. That's just how I saw things, that's just my opinion, so I'm happy to have him back. And I think that things are really going in the right path. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.